to you live from the MediaPlex in downtown Windsor. This is a presentation of St. Clair College Journalism.
It's Friday morning, so you know what that means. It's time for Friday Live. Good morning, everybody. I'm your host, Albert Sharp, bringing you the inside scoop on today's latest news. In our first story of the day, unprotected sex is responsible for this STI doubling its rates over the past 2 years. From 2017 to 2019, Windsor-Essex saw a 138% rise in syphilis rates, with 81% of cases affecting men. This compared to the 25.6% increase across the province. Dr. Wajid Ahmed says with the improvement of HIV treatment, people are more relaxed about using protection. People are recommended to continue using protection and get tested for STIs regularly. And right now we're coming up on the end of February, which is the month of celebrating and remembering Black history. Tyler Clapp has the report.
Celebrating Black history may not be limited to February any longer. People involved in local Black history are noticing the growing interest in the subject as time goes on. Lana Talbot is a local historian and tour guide at Sandwich First Baptist Church who sees this growth firsthand.
I think it's grown tremendously. More people are putting on functions, and we're learning how to cook other people's food.
Lorene Bridgen-Lenny is assistant curator at Amherstburg Freedom Museum, who aims to use Black history to help young people.
Our Freedom Achievers program, which is a speaker series, but also a mentorship program that puts mentors and mentees in contact so that we can offer resources that they need and show them that, look at this successful person. They are a role model to you. They can give you advice.
Overall, more people seem to crave learning this part of Canada's history. For MediaPlex News, I'm Tyler Clapp.
And next, the Downtown Mission will not be moving into the formal Central Library after all. This following the Mission's inability to secure a mortgage for the Olette property. The property instead sold to a private developer at the original $3.6 million price. Now, the Mission is set to develop a new location at 819 Olette Avenue. The Mission is set to purchase the lot for $1.2 million with assistance from the developer. And finally, the Symphony's latest show will have children trekking across Canada. Tomorrow, the Windsor Symphony Orchestra will be hosting a special concert for young people. The concert will be using folk songs to teach children about Canada and all of its cultures. The Windsor-Essex Youth Choir will be joining Maestro Daniel Wiley and the Windsor Symphony Orchestra's String Orchestra. The concert will be at 10 and 11 a.m. at the Capitol Theatre. And you know it's a bright sunny day outside, and from the looks of it, the weekend might be like this. Zach, please tell me you have good news for the weather.
Hey peeps, are we all ready for spring?
Yes, please.
I'm ready.
Because it's going to feel like it at some point. However, you will need the shades for today. Currently we sit at -9 and sunny, and now let's take a look at the next 3 days. Saturday it will be mainly sunny with a high of 5. Sunday, a mix of sun and clouds, but it gets better. We will have a high of 8. And Monday, the clouds return with a high of 4. That's the forecast, so get out and enjoy the sunshine after the show, of course, because I got your favorite segment, Weird News, with stories that will make you say, wait, did he? That's coming up at the bottom of the show. Albert.
And now we're going to jump down from our weather balloon, known as Zachary Ballog, and jump right into the sports world with Christian Stannard.
Thank you, Albert. What is Pop-a-Loppin', ladies and gentlemen? Let's tee up and swing right into the sports. Shout out to our St. Clair Saints and Green Giant players, Travis Snyder, Austin Olds, Carter Mosey, and Patrick Kibble for helping out at the Walkerville Homesite Hawks 18U practice. And our women's volleyball team will be hosting the OCAA playoffs match on Saturday at 3 p.m. Be there or be square. Unfortunately for our Spitfires, they fell short in the game against Sarnia. In the second period, Sarnia was able to secure 3 goals in a row, setting the Spits way back. With only 50 seconds left in the game, Maggio scored his 3rd goal of the season, but the comeback fell short, with Sarnia taking the game with a score of 6-4. The Leafs took the W. Yeehaw against Pittsburgh. Let's go, baby. I'm always rooting for the Leafs. The score for that was 4-0. The Washington Capitals lost to the Montreal Canadiens with a final score being 4-3, and I know my editor is very happy. The Philadelphia Flyers beat the Columbus Blue Jackets with a final score of 3-4. The Toronto Raptors are on pace to break the franchise record for most wins in a season. Coach Nick Nurse has done very well coaching the team. Hopefully he can keep the streak going. For now, it's your boy Christian Standard, and that's what's poppin' in the sports world.
It's Friday, and we're talking car parts, drag races, and surprisingly, they're not related, and more this Friday Live. But speaking of car theft, like always, we're starting our show off with our friends at Crime Stoppers. Welcome back.
Thank you, Albert.
So, what do we have this week?
Well, this week, Windsor Police is asking for your assistance in help solving a robbery. On Tuesday, February 11th at approximately 11:25, patrol officers responded to the 2900 block of Dougal Avenue in relation to an armed robbery at a pharmacy. At that time, two suspects entered the pharmacy on foot and demanded prescription medication and money. One of the suspects was in possession of a black handgun. A quantity of prescription narcotics and Canadian currency was taken during the incident. The suspects fled on foot westbound on Dougal Ave prior to police arriving. Suspect 1 is described as a male white, 5'6" to 5'8" with a medium build. He was wearing a black sweatshirt, gray gloves, a gray mask with a white design on it, blue jeans, and he had a white strap hanging out of a back pocket. He wore white shoes with a black stripe on the heel. This is the suspect that was armed with a black handgun. Suspect 2 is described as a white male, 5'6" to 5'8", with a medium build, wearing a black sweatshirt with an NBA logo on the back neck area. He wore a black mask with a white logo, a white t-shirt underneath his sweater, dark pants, and black shoes. Photos are available to be seen at our website, catchcrooks.com. The Windsor Police Major Crime Branch is actively investigating this robbery. They're looking for any information in relation to the incident and seeking the public's assistance in helping to identify these suspects. These suspects are considered to be armed and dangerous. The public is reminded never to approach a suspect and to call 911 immediately. Anyone with information can contact Windsor Police, 519-255-6700, extension 4830, or Crime Stoppers anonymously at 519-258-TIPS. That's 519-258-8477, or online at catchcrooks.com.
And now, while it's not important to make sure that... let me correct myself. While it is important to make sure that you do not engage with these individuals, I understand Crime Stoppers has an upcoming event where they're engaging with the community.
Well, we certainly are. Once again, we're putting on the annual game dinner, and that's next Friday, February 28th, and that's at 6:30. Tickets are going fast, so it's a wild game dinner, and we have an assortment of wild game for your pleasure.
All right, I know I'm looking forward to that ostrich. I need to know what it tastes like. I need to know.
February 28th, 2020 at Colasante's Tropical Gardens.
Ostrich, tell me. And now, while it might not be a rarity that you have to report a crime, it may be a rarity that you have some jackpot findings. Max DeLibrato tells us more.
There are many different trinkets to be found at the various flea markets that happen every day. With the opportunity to come across a rare find, many jump at it like a dog jumps at a frisbee. Harry Bergman, an organizer of One Auto Parts Flea Market, helped bring a unique and rare find to one buyer.
And I've made a few people happy today. Like there was a guy looking for a Model A fender, and I happened to have an original, perfect. And all steel, it's right there, he's got to come and pick it up. He was the happiest man going when he found that. That's what he needed. So it's one of those things. They reproduce them, but they're not produced like the original. They're not anywhere near as good, and that's a find.
Finds like these often leave avid auto enthusiasts wondering, where can I find more? I'm Max DeLibrato, MediaPlex Radio.
Now, you might like cars, but this kind of drag show is not for the car lovers. Nadia Butler reveals the story.
Reality television star Pandora's Box graced the stage during her one-night-only drag comedy cabaret Out of the Box. St. Clair's Student Representative Committee partnered with local company Lavender Promotions to help bring Box to Windsor. They hope to shed some rainbow-colored light around the LGBTQ plus community.
So we thought this was a great addition to the programming that we already do for the LGBTQ plus community and for all ends of spectrum for our college, as we are trying to make this college a very safe environment for students and make it feel like home for students, and this is just another addition to that creation.
Box performed to a full house and left everyone with a little extra sparkle in their step. For MediaPlex News, I'm Nadia Butler.
Now, hopefully the weather doesn't ruin a good show for you when Zach tells us even more about the weather.
Kids coming home from school, parents coming home from work, and supper cooking. That was the feeling in the afternoon and evening of April 3rd, 1974, till all went quiet and the storms began to roll through. This was the day that took America by storm. April 3rd and 4th, 1974 was the date of what was the largest tornado outbreak in American history. This event had a total of 148 tornadoes. This was the most tornadoes in a 24-hour period. This event caused 30 violent tornadoes rated F4s and 5s. Some of them hit near populated areas such as Cincinnati, Louisville, and Xenia, Ohio, just to name a few. This outbreak also had a local connection. A tornado killed 9 people and injured 30 others after hitting the Windsor Curling Club. This event was also the driving point for better technology in the meteorology industry. During this outbreak, the meteorologists had to rely on technology when capable for this type of event. This event was the largest tornado outbreak in history until the super tornado outbreak of 2011. I'm Zachary Balog. Stay safe this spring.
Now that was some weird weather that they were having. But is it as weird as Tristan's impulsiveness? We'll find out.
Welcome to Impulse, the show with no description because the topics are whatever comes to mind. I'm Tristan Zuderveen. The spooky streak is still going strong as we take a look at the hosting game. This ritual is very simple. You're throwing a party, but all of the guests are dead. You need only paper, a pen, and 3 matches. To begin, you must ensure the house is empty and all sources of noise, such as electronics or phones, are turned off. When the sun goes down, choose a small, windowless room as your hosting room, and turn off every light in the house except for that room. Leave a piece of paper, a pen or pencil, and a way to tell time in that room. To prepare for the party, you must go to the furthest point in the house from the hosting room. From there, you make your way back, stopping in each room and saying, "I will be ready soon." Once you've returned to the hosting room, use the paper and pen to create the invitation using your name and the current time. You are invited to a gathering hosted by, write your name. It takes place from current time until, right, an hour after the current time. Bring your friends. Place the invitation in the middle of the room and return to the doorway to announce, "I am ready, you may come in." Now comes the scary part. Turn the light of the hosting room off and walk out, leaving your back to the doorway. Take out the matches and count out loud to 10 with them in your hand, striking the first match at 10. If it lights on the first strike, say, "I am glad to see you, thank you for coming." If not, drop it and move on to the second match. If the third match does not light on the first strike, it means you have uninvited guests. Do not turn around and run immediately to the nearest light source that isn't the hosting room and turn it on. If the third match lights on the first strike, stand very still and listen carefully for whispers behind you, but never turn around. For the next hour, move around your house freely, but never look behind you no matter what you hear or feel. When the time is up, simply say aloud, "Thank you for coming, goodbye," then turn on the nearest light source. As with every ritual, never assume your guests have left, especially those who were not invited.
Oh my god.
By the way, without the filter, a snowman is a body of water.
Man. Is this a real game?
Yes, it's not a game, it's a ritual.
You
This
know
sounds-
what? This party is still more lively than anyone I've ever thrown.
This sounds like a nightmare. Like, that I don't want to, like, live, you know?
Honestly, you let your mind go wherever you want. And Swati Sharma encourages this.
Hi guys, welcome back to my podcast, Follow Your Dreams. This is Swati Sharma. You guys must be wondering what am I going to talk about today. So I have a question for you. What do you do when you fail? Is it the failure we are afraid of, or is it the hard work we need to achieve our goals? We always lose hope when we don't succeed the first time we tried. Is it you or someone else why you are failing? It's you. You cannot blame anybody else for your failures. Failures are the lessons. Failure makes you stronger, hungrier. Nobody enjoys failure, but you should never let failure stop you. Learn how you failed. Know what was that you didn't do. Make sure next time when you're trying, don't forget all the hurdles you faced the first time you failed. It's always frustrating when we don't get what we desperately wanted. But is this the end? No. We gotta keep trying to get what we want. Wanna know something else? You are capable of anything and everything. You are the one and only. You cannot let people judge you upon your failures. If you are scared to fail, you won't fail. But if you are scared to win, you won't win. So decide which side you want to be. So if someone tells you you're gonna fail, tell them they are right. But you should not be afraid to take action. You should not be afraid to jump. Because when you'll succeed after the 100th attempt, you won't regret your journey of failures to success. While you will be at the place living the life of your dreams with happiness, guess what people are gonna say? They'll keep giving you the hate they are giving since the time you started, but now with the feeling of jealousy, because they cannot be at the place where you are and only you know how difficult it was to be there. What if you only had 1 week left to live your life to the fullest? Would you be still waiting for another day to do what you gotta do today? I remember the girl I knew from my school. Pretty, charming, gullible. We used to eat lunch, walk home, do homework together. She was always upbeat and passionate to achieve her goals. We had so many things planned together. We were just waiting for the time to come back after the summer break. I cannot forget it was the last week of summer break when I got a call from someone telling me that your best friend is in emergency ward fighting for her life and have no chance to survive. Death will consume you anyhow. Doesn't matter if it's 50 years later, 1 year later, 1 week later, tomorrow or today. So don't be afraid of failures. Make the failures your strength. Don't be afraid of what your family thinks, what society thinks, what those people think whom you don't even know. Do what you got to do today. Do not leave it for tomorrow or the other day. People are going to say what they want to say. Don't be afraid of trying. I hope one day you'll cherish this time of hard work. I hope one day you'll be grateful of what you'll achieve. Stop listening and start doing. Au revoir, adios, namaste, goodbye. Until next episode, this is Swati Sharma.
Now, if you follow your dreams, you might go to Hollywood. And this week, Zachary Balog is the expert on that.
This is V-Talk, or today, it's Z-Talk. I'm Zach, and I will be bringing you the hottest from Hollywood. First up, another loss for Hollywood. Early Wednesday, up-and-coming rapper Pop Smoke was shot and killed after his Hollywood home was invaded. Celebrities such as Chance the Rapper took to social media during the week to extend condolences. Have you ever heard of Amanda Bynes doing anything in the last decade?
I don't know who Amanda Bynes is.
Can't say I have.
You know what? She's still on my TV very often. My family is a big fan of her early movies.
Irrelevant.
Well, I haven't. But hey, she is still alive, and she's getting married.
Ooh.
The since-dated actress posted a photo to her Instagram last week to showcase her new ring and engagement. Lucky her.
Shaka.
Josie Canseco is back in the single lane. Hit me up, girl. She and Logan Paul broke up after about a month of dating, but not because of his date with his brother's ex. Oh.
Yeah, Tana
Which
Mongeau.
one?
Tana Mongeau.
Yeah.
Mongeau.
Mongoose.
Nope.
TMZ reported the relationship ended about a week ago after she completely stopped talking to him. Traditional Hollywood love breakup.
To be fair, the date with his brother's ex was revealed to be an elaborate prank.
It was, yeah.
It was a prank.
It was hilarious, though.
I've been out of the dating world too long, okay? So it's been a short week, but stay tuned for next week for your latest celebrity dirt. I'm Zach in for Vanna. Back to you, Albert.
All right, and lots of local artists go to Hollywood. But what about the local ones? Precious Alassa tells us more.
The Chingchgook Museum is home to one of Windsor's most historical fashion exhibitions. The exhibit focuses on women's fashion from the Victoria era to the 1920s. Here at the museum, you are able to admire some great fashion pieces throughout history. City of Windsor and museum employee Nico Chito tells us more about the exhibition.
So this exhibit focuses on women's fashion from the Victorian era to the 1920s. Most of the artifacts are from the Windsor area here. Some of them are from elsewhere, but we tried to put in mostly artifacts from Windsor. So it's a good way for people from Windsor to connect with maybe their ancestry from that time period. We don't often have a lot of exhibits with textiles, so that was something kind of different and fun to have. So that's really the focus that we have with this exhibit.
From MediaPlex News, I am Precious Alassa.
And now to stay more local, Dunya El Haddad spends 3 minutes with someone who can tell us what is coming straight out of Windsor.
The interviewer becomes the interviewee. Today, Andy Sullivan, creator of the podcast Straight Outta Windsor, joins the MediaPlex. The podcast has over 100 episodes and recently had its 2-year anniversary. So Andy, how do you come up with your questions when you're interviewing people?
I really don't. I used to really have everything formulated and I'd know everything I was going to ask after each other, but now I just do my homework on them and I know where I'm going to start and where I'm going to finish, and I try to not have set questions so I can just have a real conversation and just be as natural as possible now.
And what would you say is your most memorable interview?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask that. It's so hard. Like, it depends on the mood I'm in and kind of what comes top of mind, but I think the one I always reflect back on is Chris Laurie. He's a 4-time Olympic bobsledder, and he has a great journey, and he got injured really bad in competition, but more importantly, in his retirement, this guy, I call him the Bruce Wayne of Windsor. Like, he is now helping with these undercover sting operations to free young girls in the sex trade in Asia. And he does this because he cares, and he's saved over 400 girls now, and it's something that he's so passionate about, and it's just an incredible story that I love telling that story. That one was a really cool one.
That is really cool. And what is your selection process when you are finding potential people to interview?
It's hard. I try to keep a balance. So, it's a business person one week, it's a musician the next week, it's an entrepreneur, it's an athlete, it's a singer. So I try to keep it as varied as possible, but it also depends on scheduling. It also depends on people that actually say yes to do the show as well. So I just keep a list, and what's nice too is I get to pick. So it's always people I'm genuinely interested in. There's no mandate by any means, so I just get to sit down and talk to people that I find interesting.
So you recently hit your 2-year anniversary. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What was the original inspiration for the idea? Like, how did you come up with it?
It's a little bit of a long story, and we don't have that much time. So really, at the end of the day, it was to share the positive stories about our community and really take the time to highlight the people that are doing great things or have gone on from our community to do awesome things elsewhere, and be part of the positivity and all the optimistic side of things that happen in Windsor and Essex County.
And what do you hope to achieve with your podcast? What is the reception you're hoping to get?
Exactly that. It's that more people start sharing happy stories and positive stories and things that they love about this community. Sometimes Windsor can be a little self-deprecating, and I think that when people hear about the people that have gone on to do great things or that are here doing so much fantastic things or helping our community, I want people to put them on a pedestal and celebrate those people.
And why do you think it's been so successful?
I think because it's different. I think, to hear some of these people that we see in the news or hear on the radio or things like that, but to hear them personally, unedited, really just raw and candid, get to know the people behind the news clippings, I think that there's an authenticity that people really value and appreciate.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Straight Out of Windsor can be found on Spotify, Apple Music, and anywhere you can find a podcast.
Now, Andy Sullivan knows what's in the good parts of Windsor and what's going on. But, like any city, sometimes Windsor can be a bit sketchy. So Zach tells us more about other places that keep it even weirder.
Hey gang, I'm just going to start with the most Canadian drunk driving story you've ever heard. A Manitoba man has been charged with impaired driving and resisting arrest after operating a Zamboni, of all things, while intoxicated. According to the CBC, the crash happened during an intermission of a hockey game in St. Anne, Manitoba. It became clear he was drunk when they saw him driving erratically and breaking off pieces of the actual Zamboni. The RCMP came and arrested the guy after his bizarre behavior. Great, now he's gonna clean the ice.
What a getaway car, man. You know, go like a whole 2 kilometers an hour in that thing.
Does it even go 2 kilometers an hour?
Probably not, to be honest.
It probably goes slower than that.
Yeah.
It's like, but how would that fare on cement though?
I don't know. I'm assuming there's like really grippy wheels underneath it.
Is there wheels?
I don't know. Who knows? Maybe just it's a hoverboard thing. Maybe it hovers. Who
Just
knows?
imagine it driving down the highway.
This week, we study Zambonis.
I'd be so mad if I was on the highway, man, and the Zamboni was just holding everybody up. I'd be like, come on, dude.
I don't even think I'd be mad.
No, it'd be pretty funny as well.
Alrighty, we're gonna keep the party moving. From the icy Manitoba to the weirdness of Florida, it's time for...
Florida man, does whatever a Florida man can. Look out, here comes the Florida man.
Residents from a Stuart, Florida neighborhood got quite an awakening after witnessing their neighbor doing yard work in the nude. According to WPBF TV, neighbors went to crack down on their neighbor who was tending to his yard in the buff. He's probably trimming his bushes or something. Leave the guy alone.
Man, that's something I would do. Like just old, naked, just doing my garden, you know?
I got to trim the bushes.
Where's Christian? Oh, there he is.
No, could you imagine it was like if somebody, like, say, a couple neighbors walked by and it's like, hey, Christian. It's like, hiya, neighbor.
They'd be scarred, man.
They would be scarred.
I could never do it.
The heat is no joke down there.
Yeah, for real, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it is hot. Like...
Yeah, you gotta do
might as well.
I don't even take my shirt off in front of people.
But
I could never.
But at one point, he was seen wrapping his hose around probably like the wheel or something, like in order to put it back.
Yeah.
It does turn out there is nothing the police can do because he's not committing an actual crime.
Literally, bro, you're on your own property, in the nude.
Embrace it.
Living your life.
And there were even reports that like he was nudist. So
man, sometimes
honestly,
I just picture the cop showing up like, "What do you want us to do?"
Nude is a calling. It's not a thing. It's a calling. Sometimes you just gotta accept it. You gotta accept that phone call.
Well, I have never heard that call.
All right.
Christian goes missing. We'll know where he went.
All right, but then again, I'd be careful because he might end up on Google Earth. There's that chance as well.
That would really suck.
I would always be sarcastic and say like to my mom, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go tan out naked, and she'd be like, oh, Google Earth will catch you.
Yeah, you'll be caught on that.
Alrighty, so pot may be legal in some states. Tennessee is not one of them. So why not just smoke up in a Tennessee courtroom?
Oh my God.
In the courtroom.
In the courtroom, the Huffington Post reports a Tennessee man was in court on a simple drug possession charge. The accused approached the bench to discuss his stance on marijuana. But instead, he pulled out a doobie and lit up.
Well, I mean, I guess he did possess the drugs.
I don't know, man. If you're gonna fight for cannabis, like, it can't be. You gotta do it the right way, man. That's
That is
not
a
the
way to
right
plead guilty.
That is a way to just get some years.
Short session for the jury.
Sure.
Man, yeah. That's
the
ridiculous.
The judge was like, you can't. The judge was probably like, you can't smoke in this courtroom. To which the accused replies, "This is court.
Watch me."
Alrighty, well, that's the weirdness of this Friday. If you want to get the latest and greatest in weird news, just want visuals to the actual stories, then tune in to our TV broadcast, MediaPlex News Now, Tuesdays at 6. I'm your favorite weirdo, Zachary Ballog. Back to you, Albert.
With the nudist story, I don't think I want visuals.
No thanks.
But that is our show for today. Friday Live's a student-run production with contributions from our producer, Brett Blake, Tyler Clapp, Zachary Ballog, Christian Stannard, our friends at Crime Stoppers, Nadia Butler, Max DeLiberato, Precious Alassa, Savannah Mills for her script, Swati Sharma, Tristan Zuderveen, Precious Alassa, and Dunya El Haddad. I've been your host, Albert Sharp, and have a great weekend, everybody.
You as well, Albert.
You as well.
Don't forget Lego Man.
Shout out Lego Man.